In this video, we are going to walk through what the online RUFAS form looks like. This is a new process because up until this point, all of our RUFASes were done in hard copies, and this is hopefully going to be able to streamline the process for everybody to get their room reservations in. So RUFAS stands for the Request for Use of Facilities and Services, but we're just going to call it a RUFAS form for short. And you will use this for any and all events that you want to host on campus to request space. It's pretty straightforward and asks you for everything that you need, and this form is going to auto-populate when you need additional information, so that's something that's really helpful. So let's go ahead and fill one of these out so you can see the different steps. So we are going to fill this out on behalf of the chess club because we do not currently have a chess club on campus, so that we know this is just a test RUFAS. So you're going to fill in the organization name. You're also going to fill in the organization type. So if you're a general club advised by Joni Lee, you are going to select this one. If you are a Greek organization supervised by Jessica Roshak, you are going to select Greek organization. And if you are a sport club that is advised by Rob Smith, you're going to select sport club. So we'll go ahead and just keep it a general club. You're going to fill in your contact information. So you have your first name, your last name, and your email address. Please make sure that you use an email address that you actually use because there is going to be some email follow-up from this form. And then you're going to put in your phone number as well. Then it's going to ask you if you will be there the day of, and if you will, you'll just keep that at yes and click next. If you will not be there, you're going to go ahead and click no, and it'll bring up these additional bubbles for you to fill in who will be there. So say for example, I am the event contact, but I'm going to be out of town and Rob is going to be in charge of that event. I would then put Rob's contact information there. But more than likely, you are requesting this room, and so you're going to be the person in charge the day of, so we'll just go ahead and leave that at yes and see the next page. So general information. This helps you to get a little bit more information about your event to our staff. And as you can see, there's a little reminder over here that says if there's more than 100 people, it has to be submitted 30 days in advance so that we can inform our police officers that this event is happening. So just a few helpful hints in here, but let's go ahead and continue filling this out. So let's say we're going to do a chess tournament, and we're going to have 50 people there. We then want to do a description of the event. And please notice that down here it says please be as descriptive as possible because I don't want to just say chess tournament again. That doesn't really tell our staff anything more about the event. So try and be a little descriptive in here. Maybe write something like this. So say this is an annual chess tournament that we host, and we invite people from the community that play chess, as well as our members to come together in a competition. So that is what we're going to put there. You can then select the type of event. So you can have either a fundraiser, a speaker, group meeting, training, workshop, social celebration, or other. If you put in other, it's going to pop up that you have to describe what exactly that other is. So I'm going to put tournament/competition. You're then going to select who this event is open to, so club members only, campus only, off-campus guests by invitation only, or the general public. So really think about who is going to be at your event and go ahead and select that. So since we are bringing in people that are off-campus, we're going to go ahead and say off-campus guests by invitation only. When I did that, you can see that some of this stuff changed because it's not a private event because we're inviting other people off campus to attend as well. Will off-campus guests attend? Yes. So because I put in that information right here, it's going to auto-populate some of these things down here. It's then going to ask you, will money be collected for admission registration? So you can go ahead and say yes, no, or maybe. If I say yes, it's going to ask me how much per person will be collected and where I'm collecting that registration information. So we're going to pretend like this is a free tournament, select no so that we don't have to do those few steps for this tutorial. Will anyone under the age of 18 be attending this event? So what this is asking is, are you working with minors for this event? This is not necessarily talking about college students that might be 17. So think about that when you answer this question. If you select yes, it's going to ask why, and you can explain. So if you have a lot of members that are under 18, you can go ahead and state that there. We're going to go ahead and say no, since this is community members, and we'll say it's upperclassmen as well. It then is going to ask you if this is a joint event between your student organization and an SSU department or outside entity. So if you say yes, it's just going to ask you some more information about who you're working with, what department or outside entity. If you say no, then you don't have to worry about that. If you expect that parking is going to be an issue, you can indicate here the number of vehicles that you expect to be on campus. So you'll go ahead and put that there so that we can notify parking as well. The last few questions ask, are you going to allow us to post your contact information to the campus event calendar? So if this is an event that you want the general campus to know about, I would definitely suggest selecting yes. When you select yes, you're going to have to answer what the category is, and for you all, it's always going to be clubs and organizations. So you'll go ahead and select that. So we'll go ahead and say yes. And then will anything be sold at the event? So if you are selling things, you might need a sales and solicitation form, which it says right here. So if you say yes, it's going to ask about what's being sold, and the sales and solicitation form comes up, which is really helpful. So you would just go ahead and fill in what's being sold, the description of the activity, purpose for which the funds are going to be used that you're collecting, and your club account where the funds are going to be distributed. So we're not selling anything, so we'll go ahead and click no. It's then going to take you to this page that asks you about space requirements. So you can go ahead and fill in more information about the logistics of your event. So for example, the date. You can click on this little calendar and click through when your event is going to fall. So let's just say it's going to be on Thursday, November 9th. You'll put in a preferred start and end time. Note that this is the time of your event and does not include setup time. So let's say we're going to start at 4. And the event is going to be done by 7. Then it's going to ask you about setup time needed. So we'll need maybe 30 minutes to set up, and we'll say 30 minutes to take down so that we have enough time before and after the event to clean up and set up. If this is a recurring meeting, you can go ahead and indicate that here. So for example, if you have a meeting that's going to occur every Monday from 4 to 7, you would check Monday. But since this is just a one-time event, we'll go ahead and click one time only. But as you can see, if you select one of the days that it's reoccurring, you're also going to select an end date. So we'll go ahead and again just do one time only. Something that's really cool about the online RUFAS is that you can check the availability of any of the spaces through clicking on these links. So if you wanted to see the availability of Alexander Valley for this day, you would just go ahead and click on Alexander Valley. So we're not going to worry about that at this point because you can explore this yourselves, but just know that that feature is available. It also, as we scroll down, has this handy guide that tells us what the room setups look like, so that when you are trying to figure out what you need for your event, do you need a reception style, theater, banquet, classroom, or board? Those are just some standard setups that we have already available, but you can have the room set up however you'd like as long as you indicate it in these comments. So if you need to request multiple spaces, you can do that. You just click multiple and it'll pop up more options. But for this, we'll say we only need one space needed, and we'll go ahead and fill in the rest of this. So the space and room, you can go ahead and select one of these. So if you need a classroom, you'll go ahead and click that. Cooperage, field space, any of the ballrooms or valley rooms. You also have the opportunity to click other. So if a space that you want is not listed there, so something like Seawolf Plaza, for example, you can select other and then type in what you want. So we would go ahead and type that in there. So for the purpose of this, we'll just go ahead and leave it. We'll say that we're going to do this outside in Seawolf Plaza. And you can select the space layout. So as is would be just nothing out there. You can do any of the setups that are listed up there, or again, other, where you can select how exactly you want the space laid out. So space attendance is the number of people that you're going to need this space for. So we're going to go ahead and just select 50 again. And then your room alternate. You will have to select something, so you can go ahead and select none without the first choice. That's absolutely an option. Or you can select one of these other spaces. So for us, we're going to go ahead and just click none, and then any setup notes you need will be there. So for example, if you needed the table set up in a certain way, or if you needed each table to have 3 chairs behind it, you're going to indicate all of that information here. You'll want to note how many tables, how many chairs, and any other special instructions that you think would be needed right there. You're going to go ahead and be as detailed as you can in these setup notes. If you need tech or AV support, you can go ahead and click yes, and you'll specify what exactly you need. If you need a projector and a screen, microphones, pipe and drape, a stage, anything like that. You can also just select no, and we won't have to fill in any of that information. If you have a document that contains the layout that you want specifically for this event, you do have the opportunity to upload it here, which would be really helpful for the folks that are setting up the space on your behalf. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can always just draw something out and scan it so that you have it available electronically and put it right there. So that is this page. It's then going to ask you about food and beverage requirements, which is something we get a lot of questions about in the Student Involvement Office. So you can click this website right here, and it's going to take you to the catering information, where you can learn about what our policies are, what Culinary Services offers, and who is on our approved vendor list. I would suggest clicking on this Policies and Procedures tab and reading through it, because this gives you a great opportunity to explore the different things that you can use to have food at your events. Each one of these little drop downs you can click on, and it'll provide more information about if you want to have a potluck, who this is available for, if you want to sell food, what you have to do, and so on and so forth. So again, definitely would recommend that you go through and read the food policies, because we know that's one that everybody has some questions on. So if you say yes, it's going to ask you more information about if there's going to be alcohol at the event, who will be providing the food, what time they need to set up, and again, the opportunity to choose a file if you want to upload something. If you select no, then all that information goes away and we can go to the next page. This is where we're going to talk about the authorized signers that can sign off on club business. So your event contact can be anyone, but you're going to need to know your club account number and the name of your president or treasurer or other authorized signer, because this is where you're going to fill in this information. So we're just going to say that we are Club 1, and our president we'll say is me. Our advisor we're going to put as Rob Smith. And then you're going to read this little thing down here that talks about following the policies and procedures. Check that you agree and continue through. So now you're going to make sure that this is all correct. So you're going to make sure that everything that you put on there is what you want, that this is your email, this is your president or treasurer email, this is your advisor email, because what's going to happen from here is we're going to hit submit form, and it's going to send all these people an email that says that you have a document that you have to sign off on. When they sign off, they're going to use DocuSign, which is an online way of signing things, so it's super easy, just takes a couple seconds, but you need to make sure that this information is correct, because if these emails are not correct, they're never going to get that email. So you're going to go ahead and just make sure that you have all of that, and then submit the form. So once you submit the form, again, it's going to generate those emails for everybody to sign, and they'll sign online and it'll get sent in. So hopefully this clarifies a little bit about what the online RUFAS process looks like. But as always, if you have questions, please just contact your campus life advisor and we can help to clarify for you.